Good evening. Welcome to Mayor's Night Out. I am your host, Scott Miller, Superintendent of Schools for School City of Hammond. Very pleased to have everyone here tonight. Just want to remind everyone to please get out and vote coming in November. Consider supporting our schools in School City of Hammond. We got a couple projects on the ballot. For one, doing some massive improvements in Morton High School. As you might know, it was built in the early 60s and it needs some love. So we'd like to be able to do that project and to continue to support our kids. So thank you for your consideration. But that's not what tonight is about. I'd like to introduce our 4th District Councilman, my friend and one of our co-workers together in School City of Hammond, Bill Emerson. Let's welcome Bill, please.
Thank you, Scott. I would like to say the projects that we're working on in the 4th, Forest Avenue was overlaid from Lawndale to Coolidge, utilizing rolling curbs. And Dean Button suggested I go to Alexander Street in Hessville to see an example of rolling curbs, because even though we built roads in the Army, not many roads, I didn't know what that was. Well, in Hessville, the 6700 block of Alexander. And so I looked at them, and they're very happy with them, mostly in on Forest Avenue. So it was nice to see what rolling curbs were. And we also requested Mulberry from Calumet to Columbia to be done this year, and to be overlaid this year. And also Tapper from 173rd to 176th Street to be overlaid. We also requested ornamental lighting on, we didn't request it. I have to pay for that. From 173rd to Ben Levin Drive. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention, last but not least, the pedestrian bridge as you come into Munster from Hammond and vice versa, on Calumet and River Drive. On or about July 5th, we had the ribbon cutting, and Dan Repay and the Little Calumet River Basin Commission really supported Hammond. And Dan Repay also received the key to the city. And now I have to say I went to the Festival of the Lakes, and he was actually wearing it. He had made a lanyard, and I said, "Wow, that's you're really impressed with that." Well, he did, as I said, and the mayor may want to talk about it. He did support largely the commission, and Dan Repay supported the bridge, the bike. Well, I call it the bike bridge. So I also, finally, I just want to say that thank you, Mayor, for all you've done for this city. I don't know where you're at. Oh. Okay, thank you. I can't see anything with my glasses on, but I need them for reading. Anyway, thank you for everything you've done for the city, and that's my report.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Councilman. Good to see you. And thanks, Superintendent Miller, for letting us borrow the beautiful Edison Elementary School. Thank you to the principal. Stephanie, thank you, Ms. Kavacha. Thank you very much, Stephanie. At Edison Elementary School, we've done Mayor's Night Out here a number of times. Thanks to the public for coming out. I want to remind everybody this is being aired on Go Hammond TV, so you can watch it again if you get bored, or if you get tired, or if you're not tired. It's so when you ask questions in the audience, we have Sharon will come up to you with a microphone. It's not so I could hear you, it's so the audience could hear you. So if you don't mind waiting until she comes up to you with the microphone, speak into it. Try to stay on topic. If we're talking about the South Shore expansion, try to stay on topic with your raised questions. If you want to start a new topic, I ask you go see Christy in the back there. Oh, and Eileen's here also. Hi, Eileen. Nice to see you again. This is Eileen Ibarra. She's the special events coordinator for the city. And again, thank you all. We've done this for a long time, so I'm sure you remember how it's done. We'll go ahead and start with Sharon, who is the personnel coordinator for the city of Hammond, and she also does College Bound.
Yes, thank
See?
you, Mayor. Good
You're
evening, everyone.
Juan J. Moreno, Economic Development Director.
Carmen Paniagua, Housing Authority.
Jack Smith, Sewer Maintenance.
Marty Wilgus, Hammond Sanitary District.
Chris Sackler, Legal Aid.
Tom Novak, City Planning.
William Short, Hammond Police.
Levita Sparks Wade, United Neighborhoods.
Ann Anderson, Planning and Development.
Jaime Prieto, Water.
Kevin Smith, Corporation Counsel.
Phil Talon, Chief of Staff.
Dean Button, Engineering.
Ron Novak, Environmental Management.
Nicholas Farrell, Code Enforcement.
Nicole Sullivan, Hammond Port Authority.
Felix Gonzalez, Public Works.
Rob Vale, Building Department.
Kelly Cooney, Inspections Department.
Jim Talon, Park Department.
Chris Campbell, Information Technology.
Jeff Smith, Fire Department.
Megan Moore, City Controller.
All right. All right. Now, all my department heads have been doing this lately to show everybody in their local neighborhood how many people I have working for me from your district. I'm not sure how well this was going to go, though. I'm looking around. How many of us are from the 4th District? If you are, raise your hand. All right. Look at. All right. Not bad. We do this in every district, and there's always a pretty impressive amount of hands. So thank you for coming home for Mayor's Night Out. It's good to see you all. We do have job openings right now. CDL drivers. If you know CDL drivers, we're literally bringing them in off the street. They make a good wage. We just gave CDL drivers $6 pay bump. Is that true? It was a $3 pay bump?
$4.
$4.
Between 3 and 4.
Yeah, a $4 pay bump, effective January 1st. So CDL drivers are in need, and we want to take care of you when we hire you. So if you're interested, please see Sharon. If you have a CDL, please see Sharon. And you could be working with the City of Hammond within a couple weeks. Quite frankly, within a couple days if you wanted, depending on the notice you have to give to your employer. We also constantly have open community correction officer positions in the Hammond Jail. They literally guard federal prisoners. It's like a hotel for federal prisoners. It's a hotel you don't want to go to, but we get money for hosting these prisoners, and the correction officers literally guard federal prisoners that are waiting to be heard in the federal courthouse. Some of the prisoners are there for a few years at a time, but these positions are highly likely to get hired into the police department and highly likely to get hired into the fire department. We've been very successful with this program. So if you know a young Hammond resident wants to be a Hammond police officer, or a young Hammond resident wants to be a Hammond firefighter, this is a great program for them. And you could literally walk off the street and become a correction officer, spend a year there, and you'll be, before you know it, you'll be a police officer or a firefighter. We've had a number of city employees that started off as a correction officer and now they're doing other things. And we have a significant number of our current officers that started as correction officers and they're now protecting the streets of Hammond. So we do have open jobs constantly. It seems like those are our biggest openings. So if you're interested, please see Sharon and we'll point you in the right direction. So, all right. Am I missing anything business-wise before we get started? How you doing, Eileen? Welcome back.
I'm good, thank
We
you.
missed you last month.
I missed you guys.
Yeah, Eileen had to run out of town for an emergency, and it's great to have her back. And that was a really hard Mayor's Night Out. I think this one's going to be a little bit different, easier. I'm
I
hoping.
heard it was.
Yeah, you missed a good one. If you're going to miss one, that's a good one to miss. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get started. I think I covered all the business.
Is there an ordinance to prevent a yard from looking like a junkyard? I've reached out to code enforcement twice since August 2nd, and I'm not seeing much happening.
Okay, good. I'm glad there's a date on there. Okay? As a lawyer, I want to talk to you about what happens. Say, for instance, my yard looked like crap, and my neighbors don't like me. And, well, my neighbors don't like my yard looking like crap. And they call into code enforcement and they make a complaint on August 2nd. It takes a few days, and then the person that originally calls in the complaint is like, hey man, I called August 2nd, it's August 10th, and nothing's been done. And it's very frustrating. And we have this lag that is frustrating for the resident, but I want you to know that we're working on it. If you go through channels like the 311 system, the Hammond, the app you could download onto your phone, if you call it in the mayor's office, if you call it into Public Works, we're following it up. But it's literally a court hearing we have to set up. And sometimes you can't get into court right away. So I'm sure you did call in a complaint and you did it the right way and we received it the right way, but there is a lag. And that's to protect you. Because say, for instance, let's go back to my house. Let's say my house doesn't look like crap. I don't know how you sign language crap. I apologize for saying. Okay. Let's say it looks bad, all right? My yard it doesn't look bad in this case, and my neighbor just doesn't like me, and they call in to code enforcement and say the mayor's yard has all kinds of code violations. I don't want to have to go to court. The court hearing is set up to protect both sides. So now we have Nick Farrell, who's a Hammond resident. He's been running code enforcement for a number of years now. We have great inspectors across the city, but Nick, so this person, and without even getting into the merits of their case, which I'm sure are factually correct, it happened on August 2nd. We received a complaint, which is 2 months ago.
Yeah. So Jordan is the 4th District Inspector, and the Hunter block that was brought to my attention, I can assure you that he's...
And you're aware of this?
Yes. Yeah.
See, that's another thing. Usually you're not the first person pointing something out, okay? Sometimes you are, and we appreciate you. And we're not asking you not to call. But usually, a guy like Nick or your local code enforcement officer knows already about that yard. And they're probably already in litigation waiting for the court hearing. Is that true?
Yep. And sometimes it could take up to 60 days before we can even request a fine in court. So although you might not see action, it doesn't mean that the inspector hasn't been out to the property and trying to take action to get them to bring it into compliance.
Maybe there's something we could do, Nick, about reaching back to the complainant and letting them know that we got your... Are we following that up?
As long as
I know that we get a lot of anonymous complaints. So for us to have a system in place where we reach back and touch you every time you call would be an enormous task.
If somebody requests a follow-up, we do try to get back in touch with them, let them know the progress on the case. If they report it anonymously, then it's kind of up to them to reach back out to us.
Gotcha. I'm glad you brought that up, first off. So it seems like we're on this one. You're aware of it anyway, right?
Yes, sir.
And maybe we could reach back to the party that complained. I have a feeling that's probably where this is coming from.
Absolutely.
Okay. I got a complaint myself last week on 311. And I'm going to save room to talk about 311 because the people in this room are the types of people that use this app. If you don't know what I'm talking about, download it. It's a great app on your phone where you could file reports with the city. If you got a large item pickup, you could put it in through the app. If you got a crime tip, the Hammond Police Department checks this out. You could put it in through this app. We give you the ability to do it anonymously because sometimes you don't want your neighbor to know you called them in because they're not picking up their garbage. Sometimes you don't want your neighbor to know you called in a drug deal at their house, right? So we give you the ability to go anonymous, and it works. I go anonymous just to check the system. It works, okay? However, I got a complaint last week about the 311 app is turning into like a chat board, and that people are going on there and they're like attacking each other on the 311 app, which is, I've never seen this before. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I get emails. Every time a comment's made, I have about 600 emails right now.
Oh.
Just from SeeClickFix.
Yeah?
Yep.
You have
Absolutely.
600 emails.
Yep. And a lot of them are comments back and forth when an inspector...
Oh, you mean every time a comment's made, you get email?
Anytime...
So you get to keep up with all the latest.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. Yes.
Wow,
Yep.
okay.
So, yeah, I'm aware of it. It is a
I know we
problem.
got a complaint, and they said that I was aware of the bullying, and I condoned it, and I wasn't aware that there was bullying
We
going
typically work with Chris in IT to, when we notice a problem individual, and we try to cut that out quickly. When we see it's something that's, unsubstantiated, and then we just focus on the complaint that's being filed.
And it does work when you go anonymously. It does, because when I put it in under Mayor Tom and things get done, sometimes I question, well, if I wasn't Mayor Tom, would the same stuff get done? So I do it anonymously. It still gets done. That app works. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, download it. It's Hammond 311. It's called SeeClickFix, Chris?
SeeClickFix.
SeeClickFix. Is that how you?
It's Hammond 311.
So if you type Hammond 311 into the App Store?
Yes.
Yep. Eileen has...
Oh, look at that. Right there. Look at that, Eileen. That's why you're the special events coordinator.
I have
Perfect
flyers
example.
at the table back here.
Thank you.
In
Hammond
case anyone needs
311.
one.
That app is really, really great. If you're in this room, you would like it because you're in this room because you're a good community person, and this is a good app for you. If you take a picture of graffiti, it geotags, it knows exactly where that picture was taken. So when that gets sent to graffiti removal, they literally know exactly in the city where that graffiti is because you geotagged it when you took that picture. It's a great app. Download it, please. All right, any follow-ups on this question? We went off on a tangent. What did it start off as? Garbage? Junkyard, yes, junkyard. And Nick is doing that. Do we have any follow-ups to that? By the way, I'm not complaining about this. We only have 4 questions. I'm not complaining about this. This is scheduled to be a short meeting with only 4 questions. So if you want to ask questions, I suggest we turn them in to Christy, who's in the back, and Jessica, who's in the back. I appreciate them being here. They're helping us run Mayor's Night. If you have questions, please, this is what we do it for. And we do ask you to write your name and address, but you could do that anonymously as well. The only reason we want you to write your name and address is if you bring up a legitimate point, we can follow it up and we know who to contact. So if you don't want to, though, you don't have to. I want to thank the council people in attendance. First off, we have Councilwoman at Large, 4th District resident, Janet Vanez. Good to see you. We also have Councilman at Large, Dan Spitali. We got our host councilman, Bill Emerson. And district councilmen don't have to be here. They're here just to hear what citywide issues. It's good to see him here. We have 3rd District Councilman Barry Tyler. Good to see you. 5th District Councilman Dave Orpel. And our 6th District Councilman is our Council President, Scott Rakos. Thank you for being here. I'm not missing anybody? Great. All right, let's go. Oh, you know what? I wanted to start off talk about the South Shore expansion since we're here. If you don't mind, I'm going to give you a quick overview. I know you guys know about it. It's in your backyard. I just drove the entire length of the expansion to give you the latest update. Starting at the Gateway Station, what we call the Gateway Station, which is just about a quarter to half a mile west of our current South Shore Station in North Hammond. There's going to be a combined Gateway Station there that'll have both lines going through it. The line that's going to go down to Monon through the 4th District, as well as the current line that we use. That station was huge for us. It was a make or break deal with the council and with me, and we got Nick D, we got the congressman, we got the state of Indiana to buy into that concept. That was huge for us in Hammond. If we don't get that, all this infrastructure work that's taking place right now would be taking place in Illinois, which would be wonderful for Illinois, and it would be done with Hoosier money. We got the state to completely change the route and to do all that infrastructure work right here, which is putting our unions to work, putting our contractors to work. So I think it's a good thing. That Gateway Station right now is also going to have a switch yard just north of downtown Hammond, basically the old OK Champion. Those 2 developments, they already have a line of track elevated that's basically going over Sheffield right now. You have to drive under it on Sheffield, which is a new development. Eventually, we're going to be driving under that entire line going to downtown Hammond. Once it gets to downtown Hammond, as we know, it drops down by the Dan Rabin, where it'll hit the next station, which will be the downtown Hammond station. That will not develop we can't start work on that until the train rolls. So we have to wait for the downtown Hammond station until this project is completed. And then we can start work on that, which will at least be another year. But that's downtown Hammond station. There's a lot of reasons for it, but it's mostly federal bureaucracy. From there, it's going to head down the Monon, as we know, because it's here, to a station in South Hammond. That station was really important. I know it wasn't as important to the residents of the 4th District as it was to a lot of people that were pulling the strings on this project. And I'm talking way above your mayor. That station was important. I have a feeling that station was important because of Purdue Northwest. I have a feeling that had a lot to do with why that station's there, but it's there. And we've done everything we can to try to limit the impact it's going to have on neighborhoods. I know that this is a residential part of our city where that South Hammond station is, and we're going to do everything we can to keep it that way. Okay? That's not the song we're singing in another part of the city. Up in the 1st and 2nd District right now, we plan to do a lot of TDD up there, which is investment, but that's a different part of the city. Down here, it's more residential, and Nick D's aware of how much we plan to fight to keep it that way. Once it leaves Hammond, it goes to Ridge Road, where there'll be another station in Munster, and from there, it's going to go down to Main Street, basically between Munster and Dyer, where it'll be the terminal. That'll be the final stop currently. That entire extension is going to cost $800 million. I think that's a pretty safe bet. Phil, you agree? It started off at 300 million, then it went up to 400 million for 8 miles. Now, I mean, we can merit whether or not we think it's a good idea all day, but I'm here to tell you, locally, your council and your mayor didn't have, it was gonna happen whether or not we were on board. I think we made a good deal for Hammond, but it was gonna happen. If we didn't make that deal, the train would still be getting built right now. It would just be getting built going through Illinois. So, anyway, I know Dean, do you have any updates? Dean's a Hammond City engineer. Dean's obviously has a lot to do with this project from where he sits in City Hall. Do you have any updates you want to give to the residents of the 4th?
4th District, yeah, well, there's just really the construction of the station platform is essentially done. There's still some work that needs to be done there. The power system needs to be constructed, but for the most part, if we do in fact deal with traffic problems as it results from the new train station being in operation, we have a concept in place to deal with that, to make sure that the residents and the neighborhoods aren't affected.
These are quick trains, though. I mean, it's not going to be like the freight trains that we have where it stops on the tracks and blocks the crossing. This is a commuter rail that's going to go quick once it goes through an
It's like
intersection.
4 to 6 cars.
Right.
Right, they'll run
Like
through,
when the gates go down and when the gates come up, you're talking less than 2 minutes, right?
for sure.
Right.
2 minutes, yeah.
So, I mean, I realize it's another crossing, but it's not like the Monon used to be. I remember the Monon, what it used to be. It's not anything like that. It's one commuter line that's going to be going through there, as opposed to, I don't remember how many lines we had to cross. Ron, you remember? 4 lines you had to cross back in the day. It's not like that. It's one commuter rail line. It's going to be fast. All right, Phil sits on the Regional Development Authority on behalf of the City of Hammond. Do you have any updates from RDA?
Sure. Well, first, let me say, Mayor, I heard this today. So from Michigan City to Chicago, it's a 62-minute ride, and from Hammond to Chicago, I believe it's at 28 minutes.
Yeah,
So
what was
it gives
that
you an
again? I'm
idea.
sorry.
From Michigan City to Chicago, it's 62 minutes, and from Hammond to Chicago, it's 28 minutes. So obviously, it's very quick.
I'm glad you said that, because Michigan City right now, off of their South Shore line, has about $300 million in development taking place. And they just announced another one that's a couple blocks off the South Shore line. One hotel condo development in Michigan City, $260 million. They have 2 projects with incredible amounts of money, and the only difference in Michigan City between now and 10 years ago is the South Shore line getting rebuilt, the double track happening there.
That's exactly what the RDA is working on right now. So when this project was going forward and they were meeting with all the communities and all the mayors, they talked about the economic impact that it would have in all the communities. That's exactly what's happening in Michigan City. We're having many discussions with developers around our Gateway Station in downtown Hammond, which I know you've heard a lot about. But that's where the RDA is right now, is putting together the transit development districts, which essentially is where all the economic development's going to occur because of the train. And they're trying to help all the different communities with bringing in investment and developers and build up around the station. So that's
So if I'm a resident of the 4th District and there's a transit development district that's going to go through the 4th District, do I need to be concerned that Mayor McDermott and the City Council is going to lose control of the 4th District because of this boundary that's being created?
the answer is no. We're excited about new legislation that was passed where we have 2 TDDs in Hammond. We have the Gateway Station and we have the south one, which is by Lyman on 173rd. They changed legislation so that any investment or any dollars that are created because of the South Hammond station, we could take those dollars and move them to the Gateway Station area, that TDD. So we are not focused on any major economic development around the South Station. As you said, Mayor, we have pushed them and told them this is a residential area. We want to protect our communities. I live there.
Yeah,
You
I
saw
was
the
gonna
other
point
people
that
that raised
out.
their hands. I'm very worried about the traffic that's going to come through there. So no,
Phil is the chief of staff for the city. He lives less than a block from the line. I mean, literally less than a block from the station.
it's probably a 20-second walk from my house to the station.
So I have people in my office that are watching out for the 4th District. I'm watching out for the 4th District. Your councilman's watching out for the 4th District. Your at-large council people are watching out for the 4th District. We have been very clear with Nick D on the South Hammond Station, okay? When we're talking about the Gateway Station, it's a whole different situation up there. So thank you, Phil.
You're welcome.
And do you have anything to add? Ann's head of planning and development, which encompasses economic development, which is where she came from previously. I know we've talked about it. How about an update from you as well?
Yeah, well, being in planning and development and economic development, we have gone around to different communities and urban areas to see how transit-oriented development has been created around train stations. We've been to Pittsburgh, we've been to Denver, we've been to New York City. And whenever a residential train station is being built, residential and economic development follows soon after. People want to live near a train station. They want to be able to come out of their apartment or their condo, hop on the train and head to the city and back. It's a natural occurring phenomenon, and we're already seeing it here in Hammond. So we're making all the plans now to get ready for these developers. We have downtown investment already, and the Gateway Station, we're working on that request for proposal early next year to get new housing and economic development at the Gateway Station. So
I'm glad you
we're
brought
on
that
it.
up. We're talking about downtown Hammond, and you know, the second district I think is going to undergo a major renovation and upgrade in the coming years. And I'm saying that mindful of the fact that the Democratic nominee for the second district is here also, Al Salinas III. Thank you for coming here, Al. Good to see you. In the next 4 years, I think the second district is going to be a major beneficiary of this project, and because of what we're doing right now in downtown Hammond, which currently is painful, because downtown Hammond's basically shut down. Holman's been shut down for months now.
It is. They're shutting it down so they can get that project done as soon as possible.
And
But
then,
it's painful.
And I know, and I'm going to go back to Dean on that in a second. So, but we are getting people like the development on the old Ben Calumet building, people
Yes.
that are interested in investing in downtown Hammond. I haven't seen that
Ever.
in a long time.
We're
20
going to
years.
have hundreds of new residents in our downtown starting next year.
The Bank of Calumet building is how much of a development? How much is in that?
25 million,
25 million,
100 units.
100 units. And it's opening in the spring?
Yeah, they're going to start leasing in the spring.
I mean, this is stuff that we're seeing that I haven't seen before. And the only difference I notice is the train line going through downtown.
Agreed. That
So-
downtown train station is a game changer.
So I know people are concerned, but I am seeing positives from City Hall, you know, and we did invest a lot of money in it ourselves here in Hammond, so I hope it does pay off. So, but it's expensive. I think we can all acknowledge that. But if there's an expensive project and it's going to go on somewhere in the region, I want it to go on in Hammond, because that's my job, is to get these projects and bring it here. And I think, you know, so anyway, Councilman, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that, or I know that we've been talking about something going on in your district.
No, I think, oh, thank you. The problem, there's no problem. The traffic, they've assured me that the South Shore Westlake expansion, there won't be a problem, especially at 173rd and Calumet, because they'll have two ways to go to get out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
So,
That's true. Good point.
yeah, that is, and so they've assured me that, and the trains, I don't know the schedule of the trains, but we're not there yet. So,
Right.
no.
Hey, Dean, could you tell us a little bit, update us on what's going on with Holman right now in downtown? I know we shut down the street altogether to traffic in the hopes that we'd be able to complete it during this construction season, and we were not able to do that, correct?
Yes, we experienced two significant setbacks in the project. The first was a number of what I call vaulted sidewalks. So the buildings that are downtown, one would expect now, right, that they had old coal chutes where coal was received in the sidewalk and directly into the basement. So we ran across 3 of those along the east side of Holman Avenue, and didn't believe that we were going to have that problem. And so this year, that set us back about 2 months in terms of getting a design and getting a subcontractor in there to make those corrective actions. One is in the E building, one is the former Straube building that had been demolished, but the extended basement goes into the right-of-way, and one is the basic office building, which is currently under demolition. The other issue was major AT&T ducts. No surprise in design, right, that we go through a level of utility coordination. Our engineers contact the utilities and ask for conflicts. communications company AT&T claimed that there was no conflict. There are 3 large vaults and a number of clay tile ducts with these large groupings of phone cables running right through our construction. And so we've had AT&T go out there and break those cable ducts and get those cables removed. We had a vehicle chase incident that actually caused damage to the repair that they were making. And so that's really set us back by waiting for AT&T to come and help us get those things relocated. So our intent, Mayor.
That was a lot more detail than I thought we were going to get up
Yeah,
there.
I'm making your eyes roll back in your head. So two big factors. In the end, we're going to winter over. We'll have 1 lane open southbound on the project, and then we'll resume with a full closure on Holman Avenue next spring, and I'm shooting for early June for a completion on that
That
project.
would be wonderful, Dean. And so I think to reiterate what Dean just said, this is something him and I talked about, is we know we have to go back into Holman next year and complete it. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that when we close it down, it's not October when it opens back up. Okay, we're at the mercy of the local unions and manpower issues too, keep in mind, but it sucks that we have to do this. We had a number of setbacks, as Dean indicated, and it stinks. I have a blow-by-blow account of the business people in downtown Hammond telling me about how I'm failing them and how their business is failing because this project's not getting done in time, and it's stressful. For them, it's stressful for us, but when it's done and we have more developers like the ones that are doing the Bank Calumet building that are putting $25 million into downtown Hammond, when we have more of them walk up, it's going to be worth it then, but right now it stinks. So, questions from the audience on South Shore expansion? Yes, sir. Hi. Which bridge, sir?
Is the Holman Avenue Bridge open?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I just drove it. It's limited though, right? 2 lanes?
No, it's open, well,
2 lanes in each direction, 1 lane in each direction.
it's 1 lane in each
Right.
direction.
Because it seems to be a mystery as to when it is open and when it's not open.
Being on the scene.
It's currently open. We had 2 3-week shutdowns of Holman Avenue Bridge for NICD to set their largest bridge on the project. That has since reopened. The signal's in 4-way or 3-way flash right now, so it is open and operational to traffic, Holman and Michigan. Now, when you get to the south side of the bridge at Sibley, Holman is closed. So you can turn right southbound into downtown by the Strachan Van Til.
And then if I'm coming northbound, I turn at St. Margaret's and then drive down State Line Road to
Sibley.
To Sibley.
Sibley over the bridge.
That's a terrible stretch of asphalt there. I mean, it's just terrible. Our side.
Right.
'Cause
You're
I'm not
talking
driving on
about
the
State
old-
Line Road?
State Line Road, yeah.
Yep. So that's a plan that I have in a few years to get that complete because it's a very expensive reconstruct.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Questions? South Shore expansion. All right, let's go. Next question.
Rumor has it that shortly after new police officers are trained, they are leaving Hammond and going to other police departments because the benefits are better. Is this true? If so, what is being done?
Rumor has it. Whoa. I hate those rumors. First off, police officers, say that, let's take it one at a time. Go through it slow. Rumor after the rumor has it part.
That shortly after new police officers are trained, they are leaving Hammond and going to other
Okay.
police departments.
Some officers have. This is true. They means all of them? No. Most of them? No. Some of them? Yes. It's part of what's going on in America right now. They're fighting for wages, and we're not used to seeing this in public safety. We're not used to, usually when we hire police officers or firefighters, usually when you hire them on day one, 25 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, they retire. And we're used to that being the norm. That's not how it's working nowadays. Nowadays, you bring on an officer or a firefighter, and they start comparing what they get in their current department compared to what other departments are offering, and sometimes they bounce. I mean, that's a fact. And it's happening more lately, I acknowledge that, and we're tracking it. But quite frankly, it's just as alarming as, not I'm not comparing, but I'm also seeing other departments with similar issues that aren't public safety. People are looking for more money. If you can get more money doing a similar type of job someplace else, you're probably going to leave, which means that, and we have union contracts with police and fire that set exactly how much an officer and a firefighter make each year during a contract, each rank, and we follow it. It's a contract. And we're in the middle of it. We're in the last year, next year. We have a year and 3 months left on that contract. So what's the rest of the question?
Mayor?
Yes, sir. Hi, Scott.
I can just say in the school city, we're seeing the exact same thing.
With teachers?
With teachers, well, not just teachers, but bus drivers, everybody, even if it's only 50 cents more, they may be jumping ship where used to be career jobs, right?
Yes, sir.
And it's not just a Hammond thing, that is across the country.
I agree with you, Scott. And by the way, I also noticed you guys are trying to pay more for the bus drivers, right?
Yes.
And as a result, because you're probably losing CDL drivers.
Absolutely.
And one of the quirks of Indiana law is the city's police department pays for the crossing guards to help with the schools, and we just gave the crossing guards $3 pay raise, Chief? Yes, sir. $3 pay raise because we're losing crossing guards. So I'm concerned, of course. I love the Hammond Police Department. I think they're the best police department in the United States. So, and the council feels the same way. And if we have issues and if it's continuing next year, we're going to address it as best we can. But we can't give the ship away either because I have to answer to you all. You guys pay the bills. So if I give the ship away and I come back to you and say, guess what? Our taxes are going up 25%, then I got to answer to you. So it's a balance. We got to make the officers and the police officers and firefighters know how much we care about them. At the same time, we got to balance our books, and it's a hard thing. So I want to keep going with the question. I think I cut it off multiple times.
That was the entire question.
It was,
Yes.
nice. I got through it. Does anybody have any follow-ups on this? Chief, Chief, how long have you been with Hammond Police Department?
Last week, 35 years.
Congratulations.
When you say they, I just want to touch on the fact that when you say they, our correctional officers, and we've have hired close to 20-something in the last few years, and they have not left us. The guys that come from correction office, they're still here with us. But we've had some that have left us because of retirements, because of the beautiful package that you gave us. But there are those that left because they got wants. We're here to take care of your needs. And right now, the Hammond Police Department has done everything they can for our officer. I love my job, and you can see the people back there love it also. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Questions from the audience? Please. This is a great topic, and I appreciate the superintendent speaking up. This is something we're all dealing with, which is unusual. Yeah. Oh, I thought somebody said mayor. Oh, hey,
I was just gonna, this came up at the
Corporate counsel, Kevin.
Yes, it's just it has nothing to do with the law, but it has something to do with something that came up at the budget, and you talked about this on your address to the council on Monday. And I think it's important for folks and taxpayers to know how expensive police and fire are as part of our budget, and maybe you could touch on that.
You're going to ask me.
Sorry, I didn't mean to give you the exact.
In front of the audience.
Is Megan here?
Yeah, Megan, where are you right now?
But-
Mayor is addressed to the council. Hold on, I have it in here. Thanks for giving
Sorry, I
me
didn't
a
mean
heads
to
up.
put you on the spot,
Yeah,
but
it's all right. I mean, you're supposed to be making me
in
look
general,
better.
I'm trying to make you look good. In general terms,
It's working really well right now.
I mean, I'm here.
Oh, there she is.
I can answer it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never get to speak
I don't
at
know
these
what
things.
gave you the idea. I
This is
wasn't struggling
exciting.
here.
So the proposed 2024 budget across all funds, both police and fire, about $61.2 million. 37.2 of that 61.2 is police. 23.9 million is fire.
How much are we going to get in property tax revenue this year?
This year,
Yeah.
it's higher than anticipated,
Okay.
but for general fund specifically, we're looking at about $37 million.
So all the property taxes, every property taxpayer, every piece of property in the city of Hammond, we all pay our property taxes, and at the end of the day, it comes to the city of Hammond, it's how much? 37 million?
37 million.
And the police department alone costs 37.2 million. So all of our property taxes covers the police department. And I still have the fire department to pay. I have everything else that still has to be paid. So and I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. That's just a fact. So it's not an easy balance. And all of us want more police officers. All of us want to pay everybody more money. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to put this city into a bankruptcy type of situation and make it so it's impossible for the council and the mayor to operate. So we're trying our best. It's a tough thing, and I love the officers, and I think they're excellent for what they're doing, and they're saving our city. I truly believe that. But we also have to pay the bills. So thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Hi, Councilman. Yeah, please.
So everything costs more today. That I've learned being a city councilman. Every project costs much more. And my wife shops at Aldi, and you know about the inflation. It's been horrendous, and so I drive. The other thing I do, and one of my many bosses is Scott Miller, is drive around Hammond all day, and I drive up to Robertsdale, and I see the frustration, as Dean talked about, but you got to look at when the South Shore Westlake extension is done, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be, especially, for people that are going south or whatever, that work in Chicago, or even if you go to Notre Dame games, and I know you've been going to Notre Dame games, Mayor.
Yeah. Not the rest of this season.
Not this season.
Yeah.
So everything costs more, and it's frustrating to drive around Hammond these days. And I understand that because of my day job, tracing truant kids all over town. But it's going to be worth it when all the roads are completed and the Westlake is finished. And inflation is something that's affected all of us. And every district councilman that's here, projects that 10 years ago were easy to do are not easy to do. So that's all I got to say.
All right, thank you, Councilman. We got a question. How you doing, sir?
How you doing, Mayor? Just listening to all this just kind of came up in my head. Is it made public from the budget that Hammond receives? Is it made public to what funds go where? And could I find that somewhere?
Yes, 100%. You can go on Gateway. It's Indiana's website where we have to upload everything with full transparency. As a resident, you can look at every single Form 1, which is basically a summary by the fund and by department, and you're going to see all of the expenditures line item by line item and by category. And then they'll also have the revenue summaries as well. You're welcome.
Every department, every salary, everything's, and the budget book that I get every year from the controller's office is 300 pages thick every year. It's done a great job. In fact, Megan and her staff have done a great job. Can you give them a big round of applause, everybody, please? I'm not even kidding. We've had State Board of Accounts in City Hall pretty much for a year straight, so she's dealing with that. She's dealing with a software conversion. It's major software conversion, and putting a budget out at the same time. Controller's office is doing a lot of work right now, and I really appreciate what she's doing and her staff. So, all right, let's go.
Is there a schedule for street sweeping?
Good question. I'd like to introduce Felix. Felix, where are you? Hey, bud, what's up?
How you doing, Mayor?
And you're a 5th district or 6th? Which district do you live in? 6th. 5. Yeah, my bad.
We have 3 sweepers that they maintain 2 districts per sweeper. They're out every day. We do have a contract with state, and we have to maintain Calumet. So they are out, doing their daily routes or whatnot. If you have anything that's dire, you could always call in or 311, and
So there's no not like a trash pickup schedule.
No.
They're literally just driving.
Yeah, because they get pulled away. If we make a mess, like picking up brush or something, or there's an accident, or someone spills something, they're constantly getting pulled, in different directions. So they have, their routes that they do, and if there's something that needs extra attention, feel free to call us or, ClickFix or anything like that.
Cool. All right. Any follow-ups on that? Cool. Thank you.
What happened to the cars towed from Claire's Garage at 170th and Calumet?
Oh, hey, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing, man?
That's a lonely feeling when I'm looking around and nobody's raising their hand. I'm like, oh my God, I got to answer this one.
No problem. So if it was a code enforcement case, which we've had one against that business operator for some time now, for operating without a license, for violating his parking lot design, then we would have coordinated with PD after getting a tow order granted through the courts, and they would be in PD impound until the owner would go and pay to have him released.
Well, PD impound is the tow operator for that district, right? Okay.
Mhm.
So this district is that Woodmar? Woodmar? Woodmar. Thank you, Kelly. All right, Woodmar towing.
Go.
Thank you. That's where they'd end up. We have a city ordinance that we follow in towing situations to the letter of the law. We have 4 different districts in the city. Wherever any tow happens, it just goes to that local tower automatically. They're all in the city. The cars are stored in the city. We have ordinance that requires all that. Did anybody have a follow-up to that? Hi, sir. Oh, okay. All right. If you have any questions that you're not comfortable asking in front of a whole bunch of people, approach us after. The chief of police right there. You can approach Nick over here with code. I know Officer Mickey's back here. She helps us a lot. So we have people that can help you if you're not comfortable doing it in front of a crowd. It's totally understandable. So, all right.
There is a concern about the safety at Harrison Park. A resident was almost jumped there.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know, Chief? I love Harrison Park. I remember some of my happiest days as a kid in that park for the summertime festivals, and obviously the city has changed a lot since I was a kid, and it seems like it obviously a super important park, and I know Councilman Tyler is constantly talking to me about that park, and I know how much he loves that park, so I don't want people to think that we ignore that park.
No.
But I didn't hear about any crime there.
I haven't either. Did he or she, have they called the police when there was almost jump? Do we know?
It was not stated. However, there is a contact. There is contact info on this form.
All right. I don't want to divulge anything, obviously. We could follow that up maybe after, Chief.
Yeah. And I will put extra patrols over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Sometimes, yeah. I know sometimes that park gets nighttime activity, and it's usually not positive nighttime activity. Councilman, you don't know anything about that, do you? I don't either. I haven't heard that. So we'll follow it up after the show. After the show, excuse me. Sorry, after Mayor's Night Out. I apologize. Yeah, it's late. All right, what do we got?
Last one.
All right.
There is a address on here that I won't read out loud. We can meet afterwards.
Thank you for doing that. We do that, by the way, because we don't want to embarrass anybody. We don't know necessarily that what we're reading is true. So if we're like, hey, 7134 Tyler Street is, code enforcement nightmare, and then it's not that way, we're sort of slandering that person, so.
This concern is regarding a neighbor's in their back alley that has a bunch of vines hanging, actually a bunch of vines hanging from the side of the house that have caused them to go onto their property.
No.
So it's a code enforcement.
You get a lot of situations like this?
Yeah, like
neighbors
normally-
don't like each other. And
Yeah, sometimes it's that. Sometimes it is a valid complaint. Any growth that is protruding from your neighboring property onto yours, you do have the legal right to go to your property line and cut straight up. The ordinance does allow us to enforce dead, diseased, or dying trees for tree limbs. We would have an arborist from Park Department go evaluate the tree to see if it does qualify under the ordinance. Overgrowth, just in particular, we have a cut and clean process in which we, enact on vacant properties to maintain those. But if there is natural growing vines, if they're protruding over the property line, you do have every right to go to your property line and cut them from the property line to your property.
one of the things I've learned, actually Ron taught me this one time. I don't even know if he meant to teach me this, but I sort of learned it because I was talking to Ron about our smoke ordinance. It's a funny ordinance because I've seen people burn in their backyard. I've seen people grilling a steak in their backyard that violate city ordinance, right, Ron? If you're cooking a steak in your backyard, you're violating city ordinance, right? Because our ordinance says if you're doing anything in the backyard and smoke touches a neighbor's house,
If it goes across property boundary lines, that is a violation of someone else's right to clean air.
This is how Ron taught me something. And I was like, what? Like, that makes no sense because people constantly are cooking in their backyard or they're doing bonfires. And then I realized the only thing different is if the neighbor calls on you. Like, if my next door neighbor's cooking 14 steaks on the grill and I like the smell of steak, it's legal. But if I don't like what he's doing, I call it in. It puts Ron in a weird position because they're violating city ordinance, and that's his job, right?
So we would normally recommend, tell your neighbor you're cooking steaks, offer them one, they'll never call.
So basically, I guess where I'm trying to get to, going back to Nick, is there's a lot of stuff that's illegal that's tolerated because your neighbors don't call you in. Playing loud music. What's the rule, police? If it's loud enough to disturb a neighbor, right? I play loud music all the time. My neighbors don't call it in. But if they did, I'm violating city ordinance. That's with Nick. There's tons of violations surrounding the school right now, but we just tolerate them. But we put these code enforcement officers in a tough position when we call them in. You got two neighbors that hate each other, and one of them is technically violating the law. These poor, officers are right in the middle of all that. Hi, Councilwoman.
Hi, Mayor. I'm familiar with, I'm familiar with this situation. I've gotten several calls over the years about the people who have the vines who are growing, or that are growing. This particular resident has been a chronic offender over the years. They don't clean up their alley. They don't clean up their yard. And now these vines, and they're weeds is what they are, have trailed up whether it's a NIPSCO pole, a light pole, whatever, and gone across the wires. And the vines are going into the neighbor's yard. So I know that we, code enforcement, cannot go on to private property. That is the problem. And I've suggested that the complainant buy some Roundup, or there's a vinegar and salt mixture that you can pour along the line to prevent the weeds from growing any further. But the complainant feels like, why should I be maintaining their yard when they are chronic offenders? And I understand where they're coming from, but I know, and I've called code enforcement, and code has gone over there, and they're like, yeah, I'll get somebody to clean it up, and it doesn't happen. So what happens in a case like that?
So typically the ordinance, the way it's situated is, growth in excess of 6 inches. So it's 6 inches from the ground. And when you're dealing with vines that are a crawling, type of plant, you get into the legalities in court on whether or not it actually violates that ordinance. And so, we're sitting there battling against the technicality of terminology with an ordinance versus somebody just cleaning up their yard. But like, Councilwoman explained, you have a property that has a 6-foot privacy fence. We're not legally allowed to just, take pictures over their fence and whatnot. We
also have a thumb rule. We have an ordinance and we have a thumb rule. Thumb rule is we don't like to have things blow up in the middle of Mayor's Night Out, so we're going to try to take care of this, okay?
We
This
can
is
coordinate with
obviously-
NIPSCO too and try to help get them involved as well.
No, we obviously had Councilwoman.
I did speak with NIPSCO, and I did speak with AT&T. They don't want to have anything to do with it.
There's an address on this form, right, Eileen?
Pardon me?
There's an address on there?
Is the address on there?
All
Yes.
right, so do me a
Okay.
favor, copy Nick, myself, Phil.
Okay.
We'll follow it up.
Thank you.
Sounds like just one clip of scissors is going to go a long way on this. Just one. All right. Is that it? That's wonderful. Does anybody have any follow-up questions they want to go through? I'm not going to ask you to vote for any way, but go out and vote, please. Okay? We got elections coming up. Municipal elections started today, early voting, so make sure you get out and vote. Election day is on, what's election day? 7th? November 7th. So you have between now at any of the early vote locations and November 7th to vote. On election day itself, you have to go to your precinct. But you can vote at any of the super polls basically between now and Election Day. Don't forget to vote. We have important issues that we need to decide as a community, and we need to get out there and get everybody answering. So God bless you all. Thank you so much for helping today. Thank you all for coming out to Mayor's Night. We love you. Thank you again to Edison Elementary School and Superintendent Miller. Appreciate it.